Original post, June 9, 2024. I, 21 female, and my sister, 23 female, have never had any issues until last week. She and her husband had invited me over for a lunch, which is normal for us. I have a severe shellfish allergy, even touching it makes me extremely itchy. My sister is completely aware of this and has been since we were children. When I got to their house, she said that the food was already finished and in the fridge. She claimed that it was a tuna pasta. I can eat tuna, and many other fish, just nothing with a shell. After she finished cleaning up, we had a short conversation about what's been happening in our lives since it had been a while since we'd seen each other. I got this strange feeling from her but just brushed it off as I was extremely tired that day. She grabbed the food out of the fridge and served it to me, giving me a small bowl, in case I don't like it. I couldn't smell much of it, and from what I could smell I just assumed it was fish, but when I took a bite I almost immediately felt my throat burning. I was coughing and grabbing at my throat, and her husband kept asking me if I was choking. My sister turned to me panicking and saying I thought you were exaggerating. An ambulance was called, and I was rushed to the hospital. I was thankfully okay but they had made me stay to be monitored for the next 2 days. My sister and father-in-law had tried to visit me but I told her to get out. She kept apologizing and refusing to leave. I told her that I'll be calling the police on her for what she'd done, as it's literally attempted murder, and she lost it. She kept screaming at me saying I know you're faking this, you always act like you're allergic to shellfish so I wanted to test you. I'd been pressing the call button for the nurse, but they heard her regardless and had asked me if I wanted them removed. I said yes. I explained the whole situation to her and the hospital security and eventually decided that with the help of the nurse and security guards I'd file a report against her. My mother is saying I'm overreacting and that I should have just cut contact, but I don't know anymore. Also, when I was a young child my sister witnessed me have a severe reaction and went to the hospital where I underwent treatment. She was also there when I was informed I had a shellfish allergy. You may be wondering why I never had an EpiPen on me, and that's because I didn't feel the need to as she was my sister. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Sister tries to murder OP because her peanut brain cannot comprehend allergies. Mother of OP, don't be upset, don't overreact. Not the asshole. Report her, and your mother for enabling this. OP, unfortunately I'm not able to report my mother, but I'll absolutely go no contact with her. As for my sister, already onto that. Comment 2, is there a future inheritance she doesn't want to share? OP, due to an argument years ago my mother took me out of her will, and made sure only my golden child sister would get it all. No family other than my mother, she cut me out after we got into a petty argument, not that it matters to me, my mother doesn't have much anyway. Comment 3, what is your relationship like with your mom, sister, and brother-in-law? OP, my sister and I never had many obvious problems, but I was very aware she thought she was better than me due to my mother treating her better than me. I was the one who introduced father-in-law to my sister, we were friends. However, he never had any idea about my allergy. We only have our mother, our father died a long time ago. I'm not in anyone's will so that's not the reason for her to want me dead. She does hate me, that's the thing. I said we'd never had any previous issues but that's because she'd never started anything, she'd always made it obvious that she hated me though. Comment 4, did your father-in-law actually know about your allergy? OP, I should probably edit this into my story since I've explained it way too many times. Her husband is a good friend of mine, I introduced them to each other. He had no clue about my allergy, and he doesn't eat seafood so there was no reason for me to tell him. He thought I was just choking on the food. Update 1, June 10, 2024. I would just like to say to all of you who are blaming me for not having an EpiPen man absolutely 0 cents. 1. Not everyone can afford one, even if you have free healthcare because it's not 100% covered. 2. Not everyone with an allergy carries an EpiPen. And 3. She was my sister, why would I feel the need to bring an EpiPen to her house for a homemade lunch? Obviously, now I know to save up for one. Anyway, this morning I went into the police station and with the help of the nurse who overheard everything, filed a report. I wanted to know what I could do and they said that they could realistically only give me a temporary protective order while we wait for the court date where the judge will decide what's best. Yes, the hospital has cameras, so I'll ask the hospital if that can be used as evidence in court, or even with the police as I still need to write a statement. Other than that, almost fully recovered and back to work tomorrow. I know it's a short update, but that's all I've got for you guys. Relevant comments. Comment 1, I am so sorry this happened to you, and I would press for a protection order. She is not trustworthy. OP, yeah, I've got a temporary one in place for the time being, that's definitely enough for now. Comment 2, why isn't your mother taking your side? OP, I've cut my mother out of my life, she refuses to take my side on this and I'm done with her toxic and favoriting behavior. My mother treats my sister like a golden child, got mad at me, and refused to help me out when I said I was filing a report and getting a protection order, so she's been blocked. Comment 3, did your sister really know about your allergy and still blame you for faking it? OP, my sister saw me choking and also saw me on the ventilator after. She was also there while they explained to my mother what had happened and how severe my allergy is. She didn't see them actually do interventions, but she saw the aftermath of it. Story 2, am I the asshole for not knowing about my sister-in-law's allergy and my husband's reaction in front of his family? Original post, May 18, 2024. My husband, 36 male, and I, 30 female, have been married for 6 years. We have 2 kids, 4 female, and 2 male. I'm a stay-at-home mom now. We didn't discuss this before marriage, but when I gave birth to our daughter, I just couldn't manage working, taking care of our daughter, and doing all the house chores. There were times when I needed help at home, but I felt like I couldn't ask for help because I wasn't bringing in any money. It was also very difficult for me to be financially dependent on my husband. I never asked for anything for me because he sometimes voiced how he felt a lot of pressure as the sole provider. Fast forward to 3 days ago. His younger sister lives in another country and comes to town once or twice a year. Last week she told him she would visit. My husband and I invited the family for dinner. We were all having a good time when my sister-in-law started coughing and had trouble breathing. It was then I knew she was horribly allergic to peanuts. I later knew that she had gone into anaphylactic shock a few times before. We all rushed to her side to help. I then got slapped on the face from behind, not so hard but it did sting. I was facing away from my husband, so I didn't see it coming. I tried to explain that no one had told me before, I had only seen her a few times after the wedding and never cooked for her. He was yelling at me the whole time I was trying to explain myself. When I told him that he knew I would be doing all the cooking for tonight, then why didn't think of telling me about it? He pushed me down the couch and smacked me on the arms and back and the back of my head. His family rushed to us and stopped him. They checked if I was okay for a minute, then went back to my sister-in-law's side. His older brother stayed by my side to ensure I was okay and to see if I needed anything. After a few minutes, my husband came back to the living room and acted like nothing happened. My brother-in-law asked him if he had told me about their sister's allergy before and he didn't answer. I told him I never knew about it until now. My in-laws checked on me one more time and then excused themselves. Only his older brother stayed with us. He asked me if it was the first time my husband laid his hands on me. I couldn't answer with my husband sitting across from us. He suggested we take some time to process and think about what just happened. I left that night with my brother-in-law and took my kids with me. I'm still with him and his wife. My family lives in another country. Both my brother-in-law and his wife suggested I stay until my husband realizes what he really did. My husband did apologize but said he panicked and was scared for his little sister. They are very close, and growing up he was like a father to her. He kept repeating that if I cared enough about his family, I would have asked him if anyone has any allergies since I was the one cooking for the night, and he blamed me for his brother's reaction. I don't know where to go from here. I have no relatives here to stay with until I sort everything out. I only have one friend and can't stay with her. I grew up in a house where being grabbed by the face or arm was normal. But what happened that night was a little too much. I want my kids and I don't want to lose them over my decision. My husband suggested couples therapy yesterday. I'm thinking about getting a divorce, or should I just let it slide and start therapy? I really have to think about it all because I know my family won't support me with my decision and I will be on my own. Edit, my sister-in-law is okay. She's not angry with me for what happened. She even texted twice to check on me and the kids and apologized for not mentioning her allergy before. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Well, definitely not the asshole. But this worries me. He asked me if it was the first time my husband laid his hands on me. I couldn't answer with my husband sitting across from us. So this wasn't the first time, was it? Please consider if you can ever feel safe with your husband before you think about couples therapy or anything else. I'm sorry this happened to you and wish you a lot of strength, OP. OP. It wasn't, but he never slapped me before. Thank you. Comment 2. That means he is escalating. It will only get worse. He has isolated you from work and friends by making it impossible for you to leave the house. Are your brother-in-law and sister-in-law able to help you find a safe way out? Comment 3. Not the asshole. The fact that your brother-in-law is taking your side should tell you that you need to leave your husband. You will need to start preparing for single life. He was abusive before by putting so much pressure on you that you had to quit your job. He has slowly been escalating it and now it's come to this. It's not going to get better. You need to be strategic if you want to leave. OP. I think I will just agree to couples therapy as a delay tactic until I get a job and try to plan my exit. I can't survive financially right now. Thank you. Comment 4. Never take abusers to therapy. They only get better at hiding it because therapy teaches them how. OP. I know, but I need time. Right now, I can't even support myself financially, let alone 2 kids. Update 1, May 20, 2024. Most of you suggested I stay with my brother-in-law. I couldn't bring myself to ask him for help. Last night he asked me if it's okay to talk about it now. I told him some things because I couldn't lay it all out. I told him that it wasn't the first time, and nothing was new to me that night except for the slap. I asked him if he could help me find a safe way out because I'm scared to go back and need help looking up resources. Both him and his wife assured me that my kids and I are more than welcome to stay with them until I get back on my feet. They made it clear that they're willing to help us in any way possible. Brother-in-law said I have the right to decide what to do about it, and that he could even drive me to report my husband if that's what I want, but just don't get him involved. I get it. I thanked them for everything and promised them to try and find a job. He also mentioned that my mother-in-law offered to pay 3 months' rent and childcare if I'm planning to leave, but he thinks it's better for me to stay with them for now and promised he will make sure my mother-in-law follows through once I find a job because it will be more helpful then, since it will be hard taking care of the kids and working. He told me to never feel like I owe them something because I would have done the same for them. I met my husband through my brother-in-law when I worked with him for 6 months, and that he doesn't want my children to grow up wondering why no one loved them enough to step up and help their mother. Or end up abused or being abusers in the future. His words made me wonder if he referred to his own brother as an abuser, then why am I still trying to look for ways to justify it or accept the blame? Although I'm not planning to get the police involved, my father-in-law's wife is helping me document everything. She took pictures of the marks the moment we made it to their house. She's also helping me get him to admit to everything that happened that night and before. At this moment I have 2 texts and 1 recorded call, along with other pictures I took before. I don't know why I ever took them because I never planned on doing anything. She said even if I'm not planning to press charges now, I could document everything just in case for later, and citing safety would be enough reason for my delay. As for my family, I called my parents this morning and they weren't happy with what I told them. It's nothing I didn't expect. I knew they would not take a divorced daughter with 2 kids in. My cousin called me later and was so sad to hear about my situation and promised to send me some money to help. I'm not going to lie, I never asked for help before, but when she offered I found myself ready to accept. I really want to make things work for my kids. I don't want to lose them. By the way, both my brother-in-law and his wife, on top of letting me stay with them without any financial contribution. They do things. If I cook, my father-in-law or his wife do the dishes, and they both work and share the chores. Yesterday I only did the laundry and some cleaning around the house and they insisted I do nothing for dinner. While I'm glad to have some time to rest throughout the day, I can't shake the feeling that I should do more since I'm not paying for anything. I also want to mention that I'm planning to see a lawyer this week to understand my options and start the divorce process. I'm hoping this will help me take the right steps to ensure the safety and well-being of my kids. I'm also planning to start looking for a job this week, but I need to get my documents first. I'm beyond thankful for everything my in-laws are doing for me, but I'm still scared and I don't know what I'm even scared of precisely now that I decided I won't go back to him. But yesterday I couldn't close my eyes and get some sleep. Whenever I close them, I imagine my kids getting hurt. And if I'm being honest, I still feel like at some point I will mess everything up, but I hope I don't. Thank you for taking the time to read my post and all the advice you gave me. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Yeah, talk to a lawyer, because child support and alimony are meant for cases like this. I don't know why you are so afraid of losing your kids, it's not going to happen. He's responsible for you and the kids, even if you divorce. This is assuming a country with decent marriage laws like most of the US has. Anyways, you seem fine with being abused, but think of your children and grow a spine for them. OP. I'm not. Maybe it took me 3 years to realize it, but I know better now and trying my best to ensure my kids' safety and well-being. I'm really glad OP's brother-in-law got her out of that situation, because I don't know if she would have left without him. What I don't understand is how OP's husband would be confident enough to hit her in front of his family. Like that's some crazy amount of confidence that no one would care about OP being abused. Anyway, I hope OP goes through with the divorce. That's all we have for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.